Hackers, this is Chris, Life 180. I'm here with Matt. We are doing our weekly live here, hopefully adding some value into your life if you're a life insurance agent in the US and Canada, ultimately. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about how to succeed as a life insurance agent in 2024. It's really kind of one of those things where the last month or so, I think we've had a lot of conversations about all the World Financial Group stuff, all the PHP stuff, all of the other IMO calamities that are happening, the misrepresentation of building your businesses, the fact that people don't own their businesses, talking about good and bad marketing, sales concepts, the uncertainty in the world as far as economics and politics and all these things go. How does that play into your business? How does, what problems do you solve for your clients? How can you help people actually solve problems, right? Because that's the way I look at this thing. I always kind of lead anytime I talk to somebody and they are debating getting into the business, or they're debating staying in the business. I just kind of tell people, you got to stop thinking like a life insurance agent and think like an entrepreneur. Think like somebody. Stop trying to sell life insurance and start trying to help people solve problems, and you're going to be infinitely more served. And you're going to be more served because you're actually going to be serving people. It's not going to be about you selling your thing. It's going to be about you, actually trying to identify challenges that people are having, and you being a professional to be able to help them solve those problems. And so the only way you can do that is by investing in yourself, by dedicating the time, by becoming a professional, understanding the products, understanding the different use cases, understanding the problems that you actually can solve, all these different things. And so with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Matt, and I want to hear from you, Mr. Matt, on your take of 2024. Give me the overview of what you see happening in the world of like IMOs and just like the challenges, the good, the bad, the ugly, like where the opportunities are for life insurance agents in 2024.
Wow, that's a loaded question.
Mic drop.
It wasn't until I came over to Life 180.
Yep.
I started interviewing a lot of agents. I talk with a few agents every single week. They watch one of our videos. They come in, and they just want to learn more. And we revealed to them there's some things that they should understand, and maybe it forced them to start asking some serious questions, which I'm really excited to do. Bring things to the surface, because you should ask questions. And one of the things that I realized is over the last 6 months, hate to say it, but this industry is a mess. If I were to sum it up in a phrase, I would say it's like a bunch of wolves in sheep's clothing, if I were to sum it up. And to me, I really love the fact that I'm on the other side, and I want this to be my fight, because I think there's a lot of agents going into companies without understanding what's going on. They're lured in, they're lied to, half-truths. And it's not my opinion. I talk to agents every single week, and it's the same story. And it's not just from one company, it's multiple different companies. And so I think it's time that we have some people that stand up, that really love what we do in this industry, and call out those very things that we know, like everybody knows. We know what's right, what's wrong. And I think there's just a lot of leaders, a lot of people part of companies, they see it, but they don't voice it. They don't say anything, because if they were to say anything, that would hurt their pockets. And that's that. If I were to sum up what's going on in the industry, that's what I see. And I think that's a big problem. So I think 2024 is going to be a great year. I think, with what we're doing, it's opposite of all that crap that I see out there. And I think as we get bigger and we're getting the message out, I think people are going to start standing up, and people are going to realize like they are misled at all levels in multiple different companies. And I'm really excited to expose it all. And I just want to lay it all out there and let agents make an educated decision, and not play these games that are, played everywhere.
I love it. The industry has a 7% success rate over a 3-year period, right? So what that means is that if 100 agents started getting or got their license today, it means that 3 years from now, 93 of them will be gone and will be out of the business entirely. And to me, that's an atrocity of a number. And I think it's a lot because people, they go about like the process when they start in the business is just, it's the wrong process. It's too focused on selling, and it's not focused enough on building yourself as an asset, building yourself as an expert, building yourself as a professional. And what I love, because there's a lot of critique on both sides of it. Some people love the part-time entry into the business, and sometimes people think you should be full-time. I happen to be on the side that I think coming in part-time is an amazing thing if and only if you're actually utilizing that stability in your day job, your income that you have, to give you the time to be able to invest in yourself and learn and grow your business and become an expert, learn the products, be able to serve people on a higher level, all that stuff. And, you're not just, because I find what happens in a lot of these companies, people get in part-time, but they're not really learning the things they need to learn on. They're still focused on the wrong things. And that's, I use the phrase all the time, you got to be willing to go slow to go fast. And, I would say, I think that a reason that the failure rate is so high at the 3-year mark is because people try to go too fast, too quickly, right? And then they never really learn the things they need to learn. And by the time they need that information and they need to be that person, they just don't have the tools or the skill sets or the knowledge. And, and that's where the wheels kind of fall off their career. So what do you say about that?
Fault. That's the company's fault. That is leadership. The companies are the reason why that's happening, because the companies are looking to hit certain numbers and promotions and metrics. So they have a formula to get people in as soon as possible, taking action as soon as possible, to hit numbers at the cost of agents, retaining. And that's really the big problem. And I would dispute that with anybody that want to argue that. I just interviewed a guy today. He's from WFG. He saw our video last week and he said, dude, you said something that clicked. And I said, well, what did I say? He said, you said that, if you should be working part-time and learn this and really get it down before you go full stream. I said, yeah, I think that makes sense. He goes, the people that I work with, they told me to just go all in, have faith. And he bought a bunch of leads and he ended up in $10,000 in debt and another, $20,000 roll up in chargebacks. And I said, well, And the problem is these companies, the reason why they give you the confidence to go out and just go all in and buy leads and do all these stuff is because while in that process, you're making sales, it helps their numbers. Whether you stick around or not, it's irrelevant because their goal is to hit a number and you're going to contribute to that number for that specific period of time. And if you run that type of system, some agents will stay longer, which will contribute to your numbers a little bit longer, and some agents will fail, but they at least contributed something. And so everybody's trying to work, get to the next level and at the cost of agents. And that's the problem. And so he's excited to join with us. And he's like, man, I can actually do this part-time. I said, man, I want you to learn this stuff. I want you to be good. I want you to be confident, and let's start paying off, paying off that debt, and let's get you in the right place. And he was just like, I can't even believe it. This makes more sense.
I mean, it's interesting. Like, I used to work with Brendan Burchard a lot, and he always would say, common sense is very seldom common practice. And it's feels like what we've built from a modeling perspective on how to do this is just such common sense, but it's certainly not common practice in the industry, right? Yeah. Because and I hate the phrase, because it's a commission-driven business, that there's no getting around that. Yeah. But I hate the phrase and the mentality of the eat what you kill kind of mindset, right? That's like, but that's the industry. That's what most people are doing. And it's, but I think until you have invested the time in yourself and have surrounded yourself with the right people that are truly focused on elevating you, not you selling people or recruiting people to build their team and so they can get an override and a commission, but truly building you because you're on the same page, you're on the same mission, you have the same values, the same beliefs, you believe in the same challenges in the world. You're trying to learn how to help people solve those challenges, and you're wanting, you know that you believe in the solution, because I think a lot of people see this stuff and they're like, oh my God, where's that been my whole life? And then you get excited about it, and then you realize, like, I need to learn the details of it, right? Like, before I can really believe in it to go sell it. Well, take your time to go learn that. The challenge in the business is that too many companies, all these companies, this is the thing. I got to say this now. I'm thinking about it. All these companies will say, you don't need to recruit with us. You always say we need to recruit, but you don't need to recruit with WFG or PHP. It's not a requirement. And it's like, shut the hell up. For you to say you don't need to recruit, it's like, technically speaking, you don't need to recruit, but you could also just you don't need to get paid either. Mm-hmm. That's how you get paid in those companies is to recruit. That's how you get your compensation raises, by recruiting. Mm-hmm. And so, to me, that's the differentiation between having an agency and having, an MLM. Mm-hmm. Is like, an agency is like, you can build off of your own efforts, and you can have success and hit comp levels. Like, mm-hmm. I run an agency. Mm-hmm. I have it with the carriers, right? We've expanded and allowed other agents to come on board and build their own sub agencies and do their own thing and whatever. But the reason we were able to do it the way that it was because we did enough production on our own to hit all the top comps and all the contracts, to be able to then trickle it down to other people and allow them to have the same independence and then allow them to maintain that independence by not having them assign their commissions to us, but get paid directly by the carriers and be vested immediately. That way, there's not going to be any of this, these BS tactics of, downlines being completely moved without your approval and without your say so, because you sign on the dotted line that you didn't control that, because you're assigning your commissions to this other organization. They get to do whatever they want. You don't get to choose. That's how I would never, once again, I would never sign up for that kind of thing, because I know too much about the business. And so I hear these stories literally every day at this point in time. And so it's just one of those things where I think what we do is getting more and more and more important. Tom Wall talks about it all the time. There's never been a better time to buy whole life insurance in the past 80 years than there is right now. I just had an interview with Matt Tuschel on the Millennial Wealth Creator on YouTube. I just had a great interview with him a couple hours ago. That's going to probably go up sometime soon. But it's one of those things where what we do is so important, and the next generation needs it so badly. And I firmly believe that if everybody understood what we do and implemented what we do, all the financial problems, all the consumer debt, all the national government debt, all the unfunded liabilities, all these things could be handled in one generation if everybody would just take accountability for the results in their own life and utilize these strategies and have a good life, be able to increase your cash flow, focus on all these things, but then have a death benefit that you pass on at the end. That's like this self-completing plan that self-actualizes everything that you want to happen in your personal finances in your life. And therefore the next generation doesn't need to worry about the government. And it's going to be amazing if everybody had this and we didn't have to worry about, getting bailed out every time there was a crisis or, all these things, and you were self-sustainable. Think about how powerful that would be. It's kind of like having a house with full solar power, full wind power, your own well, full battery backups, like everything, a full garden with a farm with cows and goats and, chickens and all this stuff. It's like, that's fully sustainable and regenerative and independent. If everything in the world went down, those people would still be good, right? Build your finances the same way.
Right.
That you're going to succeed in any economic environment, no matter what's going on around you, and prepare for the opportunity.
Be a financial prepper, one of those doomsday preppers, right? I mean, it's the same concept. It's funny because people used to make fun of these doomsday preppers, right? They're not laughing now. They're like, damn, that's actually kind of a smart idea with what's going on in the world.
Now that the cost of all the prepping stuff has gone way up, everybody's like, oh shoot, maybe I should have been doing that a while ago. Yeah.
And you were smart. You went to the Dominican, so you know what's up. You know what's going on.
It's not to say I won't be back, but like I'll be back and forth. I certainly am always going to have a foothold here, right? So I have a place I can go to if I ever need to. That's the biggest thing, right? So, you know, cool. So, all right, let's keep moving here. So, what is your take? What is your take on like what do agents need to do right now to be successful? Because I know watching this, you know, the people that watch a replay, the people that the people that are like wanting to make this work.
Yeah.
What do you think the difference is between success and failure right now?
Well, the number one thing, there's a high probability that you're with the wrong company. I could almost bet on it. And I think what people need to start doing is spending more time and understanding the top of the company, the CEO, whoever the top of the company is, who that person is, who their values are, what their beliefs are, what's their vision of the company, and then trickle down to your immediate leader or whoever you're working with. And you really need to spend more time to figure out their values and their beliefs and what they're trying to accomplish. You know, I spoke with an agent today and he said that as he was going through the process, he felt like red flags everywhere. And this is a common thing that every agent feels. And I said, what that red flag is, it's an emotion that you subconsciously understand. There's something that is not in alignment with your values. And you just don't know what it is, but it triggered you somehow. And what happens is you get these, you know, spider senses of something's up, something's going on. And, you know, a lot of these companies are masterful to get you distracted, focus on something else. So you're not paying attention to that. So you stay longer, right? And they call it extending the fuse. This is what WFG talks about. How do you extend the fuse? Meaning, what do you do to keep them around a little bit longer, to get them from not quitting? And you'd be so surprised the games at the high levels, what they play. It's crazy if you think of the time that has been put into a lot of these organizations to manipulate agents. It's crazy. So I think the first thing is you need to really do some research about your company. And not only you should figure out who's leading the company, their values, and figure that out. Then you want to, whatever their values are, whatever they comes out of their mouth, then see what they're actually doing. And that's the part that I think a lot of agents don't pay attention to. They're like, oh, my leader's amazing. He goes to church. He's faithful. He's a man of God. And they are sold on what they heard. But then when you look at their actions, you'll realize there's an incongruency there, right? Like, for example, I think it's an oxymoron to say we want to go out and help people financially and sell IULs. Now, that's a whole different topic matter we don't have time for today, but that's not congruent. So there's certain things what you'll notice is, you know, they'll say, oh, how many families did you help today? But then you go out and you sell one product that's like the most expensive product out of all the products that you could sell when you call yourself a broker. There's just little things you just need to pay attention to. I think before you do anything, you just need to make sure, number one, first thing is figure out and make sure the company that you're with is in alignment with what you truly believe, you know, your beliefs and your values. If you like screwing people and they like screwing people, stay there. That you guys are perfect. If you don't, if you really want, and keep this in mind, we're in the business of helping other people, and that requires,
of course.
You're right. This whole industry is this what this industry is about. For you to go out and help people, that means you have to have an innate ability to put people first, hands down. And this is what I realized. If they can't put agents first, then they can't put people first. And if they can't put people first, they're not putting families first. I've seen a correlation to this. And so if they treat you a certain way and they, you know, say things to you in a certain way, to me, I know they have a different mentality towards clients too. So it's either you put people first or you don't put people first. It's not like a turn on and off. It's who you are. It's your identity, right? So my first number one thing before you get into training and what you sell and coachability and systems and all that, you need to really ask a lot of questions. Ask a lot of questions and ask the hard questions to figure out if the company that you're with and you guys are in alignment. That's the first step.
What do you think? What does that mean though? When you say alignment, like what are like 3 to 5 areas of alignment that you would say
Okay.
that need to be there?
Yeah, I think a big thing is, to me, I love recruiting only because I love helping agents succeed in this industry. So I don't think recruiting is bad, right? However, if a company says our mission and our crusade and our fight is to help the middle class financially and provide financial literacy and education, if that's the message, because that's the message you got sold on probably if you went to an overview. But yet, when you look at the comp structure, how to get promoted, and everything you have to do, the first thing that they talk about is recruiting. That's not in alignment, right? And so if you got into a company to make a difference and actually help people and families and educate them, that original crusade you were in alignment with. But if you find yourself with a different focus, like recruiting, you have to find that out. Like, wait, I thought we were doing this. Why are we doing this? So that's one thing. You'll notice it right off bat. If we're helping people, then why are we doing this? You'll even notice with a lot of other companies that are not even MLM, if our goal is to help people with life insurance, and why in the world would we then sell the most expensive product when we can sell anything because we're supposedly a broker, right? So it's the misalignment is the alignment that you need to figure out, right? And then for me in my experience, like if we're gonna go out help people, it doesn't require selling people, and that's what you're gonna have to figure out. Do you want to have a business just to close and sell, or do you want to have a business where it's like helping and solving problems? Because those are two different things. And I think a lot of the approach out here, like I don't feel like I have to sell my clients. I think if you have to sell somebody, it's actually a lower skill set, meaning they're like not that good, because that means you need to learn what to say and repeat it. When this comes up, you say this. When this comes up, you say this. And then you're trained to bulldoze over other people's responses to push them in a direction. So congratulations, you're a sales hack. So I think sales is a lower level tier. So when people say, I'm a closer, I'm good at sales, like to me, that's really nothing. I think a higher level is kind of like what you do, Chris, and what we talk about is actually focusing on conversation, asking the right questions, and really figuring out where people are at, right? Finding out the problems and seeing if we even have a solution for it. That requires a higher level of skill that most people don't take the time to actually develop, because one, it takes somebody to know how to teach you that, and then it takes patience, right? And I think the third one is the big thing. For you to actually go there, you actually have to put people first. Because if you're worried about getting paid first, you don't want to do all that. You just want to, hey, we got this product, da 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 da, and we're trying to sell these things. So when you go into these companies, figure out, do you want to actually go out and close and sell people? Then go into car sales. Go do that all day. But if you actually want to make a difference and solve problems, then you
I
have
think
to you want to go.
That's a big differentiator, right? Like is understanding that if anybody can learn how to sell and close, and like I could convince anybody into buying this, or using manipulation tactics and emotional tactics to get people to move forward and do all these things. But like for me, I look at it and it's like, that's the dangerous stuff. And that's where this business gets a bad rap, because people are doing that and they're misrepresenting and they're trying to sell products on one sales call, like one call closes. I remember getting on an FFL webinar one time, and they're like, yeah, let's one call close these IULs. And my head about exploded, like what the hell are they talking about, doing one call closes with a product that you need to gather information about people's like financial backgrounds and whatever. And so to me, like the challenge is to do it the right way. It requires you have to have a higher level competency, because you can't have a higher level conversation with somebody that you're actually just conversating and genuinely caring about their life, and then figuring out, is it even a fit or not, unless you understand what you're doing so inside out. You could just have this dynamic, organic conversation, and then if you can add value in, then you make some suggestions. There's always sales elements to it. Like you have to step up and be willing to make suggestions and
For
stuff.
sure.
But that's the difference, is being able to organically navigate a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's why my biggest challenge in doing what I do is duplicating myself, right? Like, because my wife always gives me a hard time. She's like, Chris, your biggest problem is that you try to duplicate yourself, and like what you do and how you do it is not really duplicatable, right? And not on a grand scale. Not to say that there's not other people that can do it, but there's not, thousands and thousands of people that can do it, And so it's just one of those things where it's like, how do you take that then and build systems that are actually systems, but they're not tactics? You know what I mean? They're actually processes that are the thought process that we're trying to duplicate, the thought process that we walk people through, without just trying to like jam them into a product.
I think that's really my strength. I went on an appointment with Romania. She's one of a high level nurses that is with us. And one of the nurses at her hospital said she sat in on a WFG presentation and she didn't know what to do. And Romania said, well, I think maybe you should get a second opinion. And I want you to meet Matt, and he's training me. So she came onto the appointment, and I could tell she was kind of like, what's going on. So I kind of eased her up, and I said, how was your experience? Did you learn anything? How was that, that appointment? And she said, well, he was totally pushy, and he used a presentation, and I didn't understand it. And I started laughing, and I said, look, I just want you to relax. I'm not going to pitch you anything. I have no presentation for you. I just want to have a conversation. I didn't bring up any presentation. There's 5 main points I just wanted to learn about her. And at the end, she was like, oh my gosh, you made me realize the things that I need to really work on and focus on. And she was excited to meet next week to go through some potential things that we could talk about. And I remember I talked to Romania. And even at the end, I said, hey, I always want to get better, and I just want to get your feedback. Do you feel like I was pressuring you anyway, or did you feel uncomfortable? She's like, no, this was great. Like, you didn't even try to pitch me anything. You weren't trying to sell me anything. And I really felt like you really wanted to learn about me. I said, perfect. I'm glad I'm on the right track. And Romania was like, how did you do that? You didn't use any presentation.
How did you do that?
You didn't bring up any product knowledge. No products came out. Life insurance never came out. Nothing. And it was all about her. And I think, that's where we should focus on, is just really focusing on the client, their situation.
Well, and so let's talk about that for a sec, because I talked about this with Matt in my interview that I just did with him, and it's the principles don't change, right? Like, so what happens is we got to figure out and be intentional about, what do we truly value?
Yeah.
What do we truly believe? And what do I mean by that? So now that just goes to saying, all right, do you believe you need an emergency fund?
Right.
Do you want to be prepared in case of opportunity? What are your beliefs around the cyclical nature of the economy, and how prepared for the next stage of the cycle are you? Does that even matter to you? Right? Like, and so getting people to really understand that, and then you can take the conversation down these different rabbit holes, right? Like, you can, depending on who they are, what they actually care about, what their values and beliefs actually are. And if they resonate with yours, it's going to be all the more dynamic, right? And all the more powerful, because you get to like really make a connection, which is awesome. But make it a real connection, not just make it something you're selling,
Right.
But that's a beautiful thing. And so, if you go at it from this, from this angle, and you handle it conversationally, and you're just saying, all right, I just want to learn about what this person actually values, what they actually believe, and then help them get really clear about kind of what they're trying to accomplish. And then what happens is, the reason we're doing what we do, and make no mistake about it, it's not a bait and switch. And if you feel bait and switchy, I'm going to tell you, you don't believe enough in what you do. Right.
Yeah.
Because I can have this conversation with people, and it's most of the time going to lead to a whole life policy that's properly designed to be a financial foundation for your future and for your financial life as a whole. But that's only because I believe so much in what it does as that foundational asset that most people are not aware of. But if you start with whole life insurance, what happens is they have all these preconceived notions, right? What I rather do, rather than start with the product, I want to start with the values.
Right.
I want to start with them understanding who they are, what they believe, what they want to accomplish, what are their goals and objectives, what are their values and beliefs, and like really come from that perspective. And when they're clear on that, now we can say, all right, you believe you need an emergency fund, you want an opportunity fund, you want your family, you want to leave a legacy. You just told me all these things are values for you, right? Yes. Okay. So if we reverse engineer the process, how are we going to accomplish or help you accomplish executing on all of these values and aligning your money with your values and beliefs and your goals and objectives, right?
That's
and if we handle it like that, that's the conversation, y'all. That's it.
Man, Chris, I gotta tell you, man, I don't think I ever told you this. That strategy of yours, like how you go about it, has leveled up my game to a whole nother level. Like I used to do presentations and I used to do all that. And I realized how much I relied on the presentation and how I was focused on what the presentation was showing and selling the points and the concepts of the presentation. And then when I met you and I understood how you looked at things and I started doing that, I realized how much more powerful it is. And I mean, it's just like, it's so simple. I'm like, how did I miss this? Right. Well, and now when I look at a presentation, I'm not saying presentations are bad. I think the purpose of the presentation is really to have a conversation to find out their beliefs and values. That's all it is. It's not about the presentation. Here's a picture. It's just to open the door.
Well, that's what it should be about. It should be about the presentation. And so that's what we're doing. We're creating a presentation now that's not designed to sell you something based on metrics and numbers and all these things. It's designed to get you to think critically about what do you actually value, what do you actually believe, what do you actually want to accomplish.
Right.
Because until you as the individual are 100% clear on that, and that you've bought into your own goals and your own objectives, you actually have emotionally committed to doing this, nothing else I say matters. You know what I mean? Nothing else any advisor, any life insurance agent says to you is going to matter. Like, I could sell you anything. I probably could. I'm a pretty good sales guy at the end of the day. But I hate being a salesperson. I love being a consultant. I love being able to help people have these like self-awakening moments where like the light bulb goes on and they're like, oh my gosh, like how come I've never even thought about this like this before? It makes so much sense. Like, and because remember, I say this all the time is people make decisions emotionally and they validate those decisions with logic. The problem is most people are going through trying to like logically make sense of it all before emotionally committing to why it's important to them. Right. So our job as agents with what we do, because make no mistake about it, there's not a more emotional product in the world than what we have right now. You being able to have control of your own financial security, which leads to the stability of your medical directives and your financial future while you're alive, and being able to solve all these problems, making sure you have the peace of mind and security while you're alive, and leaving a legacy to make sure that your next generations are taken care of. Like there's if you really break it down, there's not a more emotional financial product in the world. And let's face it, money is a very emotional thing. Most people make more decisions emotionally around money than anything else, right? Period. Emotion is the driver to most families and their money. And that's why I say is like, we have to, the difference between math and money is emotional and math is just math, like period. And money is, I could show you spreadsheets that look perfect, but I promise you your emotions throughout your life are going to F it up, period. You're going to. So why not design your life with a financial system that forces you to become who you need to be to handle your money, get your emotions in check, align your money with your values and beliefs. That way, when you make decisions, you're not screwing yourself over, right? That you're doing everything in alignment, everything with a level of intention, and that's it. And so like, it's not hard, right? It's just a matter of you got to believe, and then you got to educate yourself and get to a point where you have the confidence and you have the boldness, and you can let go of your ego to actually go out there and try to ask people questions without the fear of rejection. That's the biggest thing.
That's it. Spot on. It's crazy. Like a lot of now with the shift you helped me with, focusing on asking questions and really dive into people's beliefs and values. And this is where actually through that process, it made me fall in love with whole life even more, because what I realized is most people most people's beliefs and values are in alignment with what whole life provides. So I'm thinking this is crazy, because most people, you know, they have a certain risk level. But if you were to ask most people, and almost every person I've spoke with lately, if I were to ask them, you know, what percentage of your money would you want in something safe versus risk, right? And almost everybody, it's either all in safe or 70% or more in safe. So then why are we talking about putting all your money into like an IUL or all these other products where you're injecting risk, right? So it's just really helping people sort through that. But it's crazy is once they divulge their belief and value, and then you show them how these other products are not in line with their own beliefs, they're like, oh, I don't have to sell. I'm just helping you get to what you believe in, right? I'm just guiding you to what you're looking for, and you just don't know how to get there. And that's why you don't really need to sell, which is fun. It's a fun process.
Well, and it's interesting when you do it the right way. What happens is you're not really selling a product. Yeah, I mean, I truly believe that eventually whole life insurance comes into everybody's picture if it aligns with your values and beliefs.
Right.
But you know, whether it's whole life, whether it's term insurance, whether it's some other investment, whether you want to invest in real estate, whatever, I've developed myself. Like, and I think this is where it's different, and where I feel like it gets misunderstood sometimes. People feel like I push things on them, and it's like, I don't push. I just push what I believe. Right. I push, and I just share my passion for that, right? Like for what I believe works for me, right, and what I'm excited about. And I know there's enough people that share that alignment and are going to want the same things. And those are the people that kind of self-opt in and raise their hand and ask for help and, you know, set up a call and want to join the team and like all these different things. I'm fully aware that, you know, the hardcore Dave Ramseyites, the hardcore people that love Susie Orman, you know, are not going to ever, you know, change. And they're not going to resonate with what I have. But like, I'm not trying to save everybody. I'm just trying to save the people, you know, that want help in this regard. And that actually, like, the biggest thing is like taking radical self-accountability for the results in their life when it comes to the, you know, to pretty much everything. But, you know, I believe money is a pillar. Understanding your personal finances is a pillar, and everybody's at a different place. You know, maybe you need to get out of debt. Maybe you need to, you know, maybe you're sitting on a pile of money and you just don't know what to do with it, and you're scared of losing it. You're scared of making a mistake. You know, scared of the taxation. You're scared of a lot of things. You know, like it's just whatever you're doing, you owe it to yourself to hit the level of education, whether you're a consumer. And then especially if you're an agent, like if you are advising people to do things, you better damn well be doing it yourself. And you better understand it to a level that you can coach them for a long period of time through the process as they get educated through it. And don't try to push them into a product. I mean, you know, a lot of people think like whole life. And even people, when they join our team and they're all about infinite banking and using cash value life insurance, it's like, slow down. Sometimes you're going to have, more often than not, as much as I love whole life insurance, we sell as much term insurance, if not more, than whole life, because of the fact that we live in a society where there's so much debt that people don't have the free and clear cash flow to do a whole life policy. So let's lock in your net worth, buy a term policy, protect your family, use the cash flow to pay off debt, free up cash flow, and then convert that term policy to a whole life policy later.
Yeah. True.
Simple.
Makes sense to me.
All right. That's good. What else we got? What else are we missing?
Well, I think the first thing we're just talking about aligning with the right company, right? Making the aligning that way. Let's say now you found the right company and you did your homework, you asked the tough questions, you found your home. You know, a lot of the times, you know, there's going to be training aspect. Of course, they have to have training. But this is where I see a lot of agents struggle. The company has the training, the company has the resources, the company has everything, but it's the transition from the employee mindset where you want everything spoon fed to you, want everything to give into you, to transitioning into an entrepreneur where you don't wait for anything outside of you, you go out and get it, right? And so that's where a lot of agents I see struggle. It could take some time, where a successful agent, the way they think, they have an internal locus of control. Whereas an agent, when you're first starting off, you have an external locus control. You know, a lot of this is habitual because you learned it in corporate America, you learned it from your parents, everything's given to you. And so when you're transitioning from the W-2 to 1099, the entrepreneur mindset, it might be a quite a bit of a shift for you to understand, like, if you need to go get something, you need to go out and get it. And if you're waiting around for somebody to tell you something, is because you're just waiting, right? You have a external locus of control. So, that really comes down to coachability and going through and taking coaching at the speed of instruction. I always have fun with our Tuesday trainings because I test them. I say, hey, look, if I were you guys, I would do this. And then what I do is I wait for the next week to see who did it. And it tells me right away who has a high desire level. And those are the people I want to work with and prioritize first, because high desire is correlated with higher success, right? And not to say that you can't build that up, but I just want to get to the people that want it now, and so I can help them, go faster. And everybody else, you're on your own journey. It's gonna everybody's on a different path. But I think really the system for success is you got to learn, right? And then you got to take action. And that's another second part where a lot of people miss is you can learn, but you don't do anything with the knowledge. It's not going to get you anywhere. And so the second part after learning is taking action. And that's where you're going to develop your skills. That's where you're going to develop your belief. That's where you're going to develop your confidence, which is needed. And that's the second part. And the third part is the highly missed, is not getting feedback. And now you could succeed with taking action and not getting feedback. You can get lucky. It might take you a little bit longer. And I just realized the more feedback you get, the faster you can grow. And I've seen a high correlation of people who like, there's agents. I had a meeting on Tuesday, and I said, some of you guys are afraid to reach out to me because you're probably thinking you're going to be bugging me. So while you're afraid to reach out and get help, I just want to let you know there's people in this same training calling me 3 times a day. I'm meeting with them multiple times a day, and they're getting what they need, and they're moving past you. And so what you need to get out of your head is, I'm not your boss. I'm here to help you. So why are you not using and abusing me? Like, call me, text me, let's go. Let's get this thing going, right? And that's the part, is a lot of people, they're doing a lot of things on their own, but they're not getting feedback. And a lot of the agents, they are getting feedback. Matt, I just had a conversation. This is how it went. Hey, Matt, I said this to somebody. This is how it went. And there's a lot of agents getting feedback, and I could see their growth like just spike up. I remember that. I'm not going to call her up, but there's a specific agent. For 3 weeks, I told her, stop saying that. Stop saying that. You're selling people. And so finally, she started listening. Oh, my gosh. And now things are happening. Like, people are actually listening and positive. The only difference is she got coaching and she implemented coaching, right?
It's amazing.
And that's really the big part of it. And then once you get the coaching, the fourth part is you have to make changes to adapt. You can't do the same thing if it's not working. And so it's learning, taking action, getting feedback, and then making changes. Those 4 parts over and over and over and over and over again, you should start seeing some success, which is, it's pretty easy to do.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, man, I mean, I think, this, I know right now, I just think, especially in the financial industry, safe money has not been as important as it is right now, at least in 15 years, if not, longer. Right.
Yeah.
Making sure that you, clean up your financial house and you eliminate debt and you save money and you have money accessible, I believe is one of the most important things that you could do right now. Clean up unnecessary expenses, get rid of subscriptions that you don't use absolutely every time. I fall into that trap. I'm the worst at like signing up for $10 a month subscriptions and $20 a month subscriptions and then forgetting about it for 6 months. It's like, damn it.
Yeah.
I do it all the time. I just did it the other day. I found like 3 subscriptions that cost me a total of $35 a month. And I'm like, oh, whoops, and I canceled them. But like, we sign up for things and it goes. And, for a lot of people, I mean, I bet you have $100 a month plus in subscriptions that you have that you don't even know, that's costing you $1,200 a year, that when you look at that, like, you're probably got credit card bills that are costing you 20 whatever percent in interest at the same time. Right. And so, I would say get all that in order, get a budget, get a cash flow statement, what I would call a personal P&L statement going. I hate the concept of budgeting, but I love profit loss statements because I'm a business guy. But really a profit loss statement is basically like a budget for a business, right? And so, but it's with the focus of growth, right? Because the mindset of an entrepreneur is growth. And so I think budgets mentally and emotionally are thought of as being restrictive and having to shrink your life. And so whereas if you think about it as a personal P&L, you can think about it as like, all right, maybe I got to tighten things up for now, but the objective is always growth. The objective is always creating more cash flow. And who do I need to become to be able to do that? And I don't know, that makes it, I don't know. It allows you to gamify it a bit more. It allows you to kind of think more optimistically and more from a creation mindset and stuff of that nature. But I think, the world needs a lot more people doing it the right way. And that's kind of why I'm on the mission. That's why you're on the mission, I know. So you said something at the beginning, and before we finish up, you said something at the beginning of the video, right when we started, and something triggered in my mind. I wanted to say it, but I didn't want to cut you off, and now it just popped back in my head. So I'm gonna go back to it. You mentioned, you were talking about like all the people that are misrepresenting and this and that, like can't remember the words you used, but you were basically talking about all the IUL agents out there that are misrepresenting all this stuff. And we have thousands and thousands of agents with social media accounts and all this stuff. So I'm going to ask you, and I want to get your take, and you have no idea I'm about to throw this at you, but it's going to be a raw response. Is like, what is your take on the impact that Instagram and TikTok have had on our space, like with all these people doing it?
Man, in our industry, it's bad. There's reasons why the securities industry has regulations, and I don't know what's going on, but it is out of control. The things, at least, look, I'm a reformed IUL agent. Even at least when I did it, we were, you can't say certain things, right? And we would, it was like, you can't do that. That is wrong. And now it's almost as if there is no filter, absolutely no filter. And the reason why this is happening is because you have uplines and uplines and uplines. They want to make more money. They don't know themselves. This is the next shiny object where I can make more money. And it is out of control. Like, no filter. The things that they're saying, like, I'm laughing because they don't even know what they're talking about. Like, it's like almost they're saying, guys, 2 + 2 = 5, and this is how you get to 5. It's like, it's that common. Like, did he just say that? Like, where are these guys getting trained at? And it is really scary, and it really strengthens my fight to go out and combat this, because if the regulators are not going to take responsibility and stand up, if these carriers are going to allow this, then who else is going to stand up? And I really feel like we're creating a movement to wake people up from this stuff, and it's getting bad. I don't know how the regulators are not stepping in, but I think the day's going to come, and the day's going to come for sure. And we're going to look back and we're like, wow, I can't even believe this went on that long. So yeah, it's crazy is what it is.
I agree. I look at it, and my challenge with the TikTok and Instagram fad for this, and I swore, it was interesting, I swore I'd never do short form content, and now I do a ton of it. But I felt like I got pulled into it. And the reason I started doing it is because YouTube decided to start doing short form content. And so I was like, if I'm going to do it there, I'll do it on these other platforms as well. But that all said, the biggest thing for me is, like, I focus on long form because I don't think you can take these complicated ideas and articulate it and educate people in an accurate way without being misleading in a 60-second video, in a 90-second video. I think it's almost impossible to not be misleading. And that includes my content. You know what I mean? But the thing is I don't go out and create short form content. I share clips from other interviews that people can then go click and watch a full interview to get the full picture, right? I'm not creating short form content to, like, mislead and misrepresent, right? Like, now, if they watch even a video of mine, are they getting kind of a portion of the story? Totally, 100% of the time, because that's the nature of short form content. But the problem is you have hundreds of thousands of agents now, and I'm not even exaggerating, with TikTok accounts, Instagram accounts, trying to be the next, big influencer in the space, and they're creating this content, and people are watching this content and making decisions on a 60-second video clip. That's the danger.
Yeah, they get hooked in and they click on a link and they go to the schedule calendar, and then they're sold a bunch of other garbage, and here we go. It's like, yeah.
If you haven't done at least 20 hours of your own independent research, trying to really understand the ins and outs of it and this includes me. This includes don't ever come to me. Do your research, watch the videos, come up with critical questions, think critically, question everything, do it 100% of the time, before you make any decisions or go down that path. Cause it's going to be one of the biggest decisions that you make in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of basic stuff to me, but it's crazy to see how many people, don't do it. But all right, you got anything else for us?
That's it, man. I think we hit it on the nail, and we'll be back next week.
All right. Let me see here. Do we got any comments before I bounce? Brian Mansell says, the two of you have given, I'm putting this up because the world needs to see this. It's great. Given great guidance that is sound and kosher. Well, thanks, Brian. Appreciate it, man. I just try to keep chill. Alonzo was here. Good to see you, Alonzo. And then Seb from the Approved Guy. Guys, if you haven't seen, if his comment still up there, the Approved Guy, he's another guy on the team who's amazing. He does a lot of business credit, personal credit. He works with entrepreneurs. He does a lot of different stuff. He's a great guy as well. Go follow his channel. He's fantastic. But yeah, man, this is fun. Love it. So we'll see you guys next week. Same time, same channel, and we'll go from there. Have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon.